Hello YouTube, I'm Pilot Stud and today I'm going to be helping you all with a very requested video already. Today I'll be going through the best sensitivity options in my opinion for your Xbox controller for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now before I get right into it, I'd like to say this is not a one fix fits all type of video. You will have to trial and error with yourself and see what works for you. I'll be giving some rough guides of what I think is good, what settings I use, hopefully to give you some advice and push you in the right direction about sorting your gamepad sensitivity out. It's an issue that's plagued so many people, so I'm not going to keep you here for long. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe. But now let's get into this video. So here I am in my beautiful little Cessna 152. I'm well trimmed out and the aircraft is flying nicely. In the cockpit, in my opinion, the controls are nice and stable. I have applied my sensitivity settings and as you can see, I'm putting really little inputs in and it just flies very nicely. It feels a lot more like a yoke system without the yoke. It's got that kind of force to it. But now let's hop into settings and I'll show you my settings at the moment and I'll go through the ranges. So to come into settings, just press that little free bar menu button on the Xbox gamepad as you would with most games and come down to controls options. Once you're there, ensure you come over to the controller if you've got a keyboard and mouse plugged in or any other product such as the host has one. And this is where you can change all of your controls. You'll notice at the moment I've got it on a preset perfect sensitivity. Let's hop over into the sensitivity so I can show you what it's like at the moment. So this is my sensitivity at the moment. You can see as I'm moving my thumbstick, it doesn't go wild instantly. There's got a big dead zone which really helps. But before we get into the sensitivity settings, you can look at them now and change them if you want and close the video. Let's go over to the default ones. So here I am in the default controls. Let's go over to sensitivity and see what Asobo provide us with. So as you can see, this is, well, in my opinion, it's too loose and you don't get the stability required to fly an aircraft. Let's head over to the x-axis first and you can see any minor movements and it goes off the rails. We're going to solve this now, that this can be applied to sensitivity minus or plus on the x and y axis, and that's what I'm going to do. Come over to sensitivity, and for sensitivity minus and plus, I recommend a range anywhere between -65 to -80. Let's bring ours to -75, which I think is a sweet spot and pretty good for me. Hover over it and with the right thumbstick, just bring it over to -75. Same with sensitivity plus, -75. Anywhere between -65 and -80 should be good for you. And there we go, you can see on the x-axis now, it doesn't go insane straight away. The curves are a bit more steep but in the further direction, so you're not affecting the aircraft straight away. You've got a little bit of zone to play with. In addition to that, speaking of zone to play with, let's increase the dead zone. I recommend from 15%, bring it anywhere from 20 to 35%, 40 at the most, otherwise it is too difficult. I'm going to bring mine to 25. And that just means if you accidentally hit the thumbstick, you're not going to be sending your aircraft into a flying frenzy. And it just gives you that little bit more room for error there and makes the aircraft a lot more stable. Do not worry about a neutral. Extremity dead zone, I don't think it has too much of an impact, but bringing it up to 5% can be quite nice. Means you don't have to put as much effort into it. Reactivity as well. I bring this up quite high to 20%, I just feel like it feels the best. I'm not going to offer any ranges for this one because I do think this is really personal preference. I'm going to bring mine to 20%. And there you go, we've now got the x-axis calibrated. I think it feels really good. You know, nice sweeping motions do it, and I can feel on the thumbstick already it's feeling nice, smooth and stable. I can picture it in the aircraft. You're now going to want to do exactly the same thing for the y-axis, so -75 Anywhere between -65 to -80 should be sufficient. Same with sensitivity plus. Dead zone, I mean 15 is alright, but I'd go up to 25%. I just like a bit more room for error. There we go. Neutral, don't worry about it. Extremity dead zone, not overly important. 5% seems to do a nice job. And reactivity, once again, personal preference. You can bring it up to 20% like me. And there we go, we've now got our X and Y axes calibrated. You can of course calibrate your camera, the right stick, but to be honest, I think they've done a pretty good job on that one. I think it feels rather nice. Of course, sensitivity is personal preference, but these are my options. And I think I've done a pretty good job here. There are a few other tutorials on YouTube where people share their thoughts, but I think these ones are nice. I think they strike a nice balance. Let's hop back into the cockpit to take a look how the aircraft flies now. So before you head back, you'll want to save your profile. I've already saved one, so I'm just going to put save 2 in. There we go. Beautiful. Then make sure you press Y, apply and save, and back again. Here we go. And you can feel, guys, well, you can't see it, you can't feel it until you try it out, but in my opinion, the aircraft, I mean, you just get better with light touches. And the aircraft, especially in the light aircraft, works very well in the Boeing as well, and of course the Airbus. But you just get light touches, and I think that's something very nice. Of course, I haven't really changed the camera, so that's kept how it is, and I think it does a pretty good job of that anyway. It's nice to be able to hover over everything. But sensitivity-wise, flight controls feel really good. If you stare at the yoke now, you can see I'm moving my thumbstick enough to just put those little touches in. Before, you wouldn't really be able to do that. The aircraft would not be very forgiving, and you'd probably overcompensate. Let's take this aircraft for a landing now, so I can show you what I really mean with the light touches. Okay, so here I am on approach to a local airport of mine. As you can see, I'm not putting much effort in, I'm just light taps on the thumbstick and a bit of trim, and the aircraft does it really well. I haven't touched any rudder sensitivity, primarily because there isn't really any. Until we get any rudder pedals, we're not really going to worry about that. Of course, you just use the left and right bottom stick bumper things. So guys, if you're unfamiliar with the PAPI, Precision Approach Path Indicator, I believe is what it stands for, it's those 2 white and red lights there. When it's 2 white and 2 red lights, it means you're on the glide slope, which means you're on target at the correct height and distance from the runway to land on it properly. If there's more red than white, then you're too low, and if there's more white than red, then you're too high. Really helpful in the dark normally. Or dusk or evening time. So at the moment you can see we've got 3 white lights. That means we're a bit too high, but not normally anything to worry about with a runway this length in the Cessna. And there we go, because I trimmed down a bit there, we've gone back to a good height. You'll also see the runway lights now, just at the ends there, the approach lights. Use them to line up, they're really good to help you line up with. And at the moment I'm just, as you can see, I'm lining myself up now just so I get on the centre line really. So you see the lights drop to red there because we're too high. We've got a bit of wind hitting us as well, which explains that jerky movement there. So I'm just going to sort out my height. And we're going to keep the aircraft nice and stable. There we go, we're sorting it out now, as you can see. And we'll lose the speed, and we want to be aiming for around 50 knots on touchdown. We'll cut the power now. Cut some power, not all of it, of course. So luckily we've got a long runway and a little aircraft, so it shouldn't really matter where we end up, as long as we're on the runway. I'm just compensating for that bit of wind we've got now, a bit of side wind. And there we go, not the best landing, but a landing nonetheless. Sensitivity really helped there. I remember on my first live stream it was, Yeah, it wasn't nice. Let's take off now, just to show you guys what takeoff's like. Try and line up again, there we go. Bit more. See, I would really like a rudder sensitivity option to a good degree, but I guess we can't really do much about that until we get rudder pedals. Right, okay, we can pull back now. There we go, straight up in the air. You can see the wind hits us almost instantly. We've got a lot of wind today, but aside from that, it is really nice to take off. Trim those up, and it's easy to keep the same attitude, I should say. Yeah, it's nice. So there we go, guys. I hope this has helped you out. Of course, we've got a bit of side wind today, which doesn't necessarily help us. Crosswind, I could say, not side wind. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed. I hope this helps you out. I hope you go now and sort out your sensitivity. It is a painful experience, but really trial and error to do it. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed. Thank you to all my channel members. They get a shout out on the screen now. If you'd like to become a channel member for exclusive perks such as shout outs, custom emojis, and a lot more, then be sure to click that blue join button for a very affordable price. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching from me today. That is all. Bye bye.